behaviour slowly.
So do you think the advertising needs to be a lot, you know, like with smoking, they've got it...
I think it has to be graphic.
Yeah, so
it has to be graphic. I don't believe that you dropping dead in a nightclub works. Because I've been in a nightclub where we've resuscitated somebody and everyone kept dancing and everyone was still going to the toilet doing lines of coke. So they're immune. Because it won't happen to them, because my stuff is supplied by my best friend that wouldn't kill me. Right? I mean, you know, this is what's happening. And the grade of drugs that they're bringing here is very high grade. So you end up having respiratory failure, heart attacks, brain deaths. You know, that's why people drop dead. It's not because the person that gave it to wanted to die. They're cutting it and it's high grade. And they're having, what these drugs do, they're all suppressants. They suppress your breathing, they suppress your heart. They cook your brain. You know, you're not going to get away from it. This is what these guys were meant to do. All of them, most of them, are painkillers. That's what we use the opioids for in medicine, at very low doses, not the stuff that they're taking. You know, they're taking high grade stuff, you know. No one sat there and said, you're a 70 kilogram 21-year-old, and this is per kilogram, 1 milligram is what you're supposed to take. They're popping tablets that aren't quantified. And as a result of that, we're seeing it. We're seeing kids that become paranoid, that become schizophrenic. And that's our biggest dilemma for this age group. They're going to end up in mental asylums. We don't need aged care if we don't change anything. There's no need for aged care for the 15 to 24-year-olds that are coming through. They're going to need schizophrenic wards, because that's what the chronic use, even social use, will end up doing to these children, is giving them a psychological mental illness, a paranoid schizophrenia. And that's what we've got to look forward to if we don't act. You know, we need to act now. You know, we need to act as parents, we need to act as governments, we need to change the behaviour. We need to also be much more aggressive with the penalties. You know, 30 days in jail, if our system would allow it, if you're found with it. 30 days. You know?
Well, the hospitals need to do... I know of an incident of a young boy recently from Riverview. He had a problem. His parents said to him, when you're ready to get help, go to a hospital and they'll help you. He went to the Royal North Shore.
Yeah.
He said he needed help. They said he wasn't sick enough. 5 hours later, he committed suicide.
Well, that's right. And that's the other thing, that our hospitals are understaffed, under-trained for this stuff. Certainly in mental health and drug and alcohol. You know, they don't have the right people there to pick the symptoms. They certainly don't have the right people to pick the child that's going to go and commit suicide because it's become paranoid.
Yeah,
he's become paranoid. Yeah. And he's hearing voices in his head because of...
that's right. It's exactly what he said. I can't stand the voices in my head.
Because he's been taking ice or an impure ecstasy. They start hearing voices in their head. And those hallucinations are reality to them. And those voices are telling him to do something. Or they're chasing him. And if you're not trained, you don't pick it up, because you see a 21 or 18-year-old that's fit and strapping, and there's nothing wrong with it, because you're not bleeding from anywhere, you don't have a temperature, you don't have meningitis. So they need specific, targeted treatment centres, and they're not doing it.
But it's those kids who went to his funeral that I said to them, you need to get together, you're intelligent children, you need to get together and do something. Let him be one of the last people that die.
Well, that's right. And I think that's where the movement has to start. It has to start with the adolescents themselves. They have to start taking care of themselves. That's where it starts. Us as parents, well, we know nothing. You know, what do we know? You know, we're here to provide the household and pay the bills, but what do we know? But their friends know. You see, their friends are their greatest advisors. And they can't live without them. So it's time that we started using their friends, because somewhere it's only 1 in 4, which means 3 are sensible, and there's only 1 idiot amongst them, right? So 3 are sensible, which means we're still got an army there, because it's only 1 in 4. We're still at the early stages in Australia.
Is that better statistics now than it was 10 years ago?
It is. It is because 10 years ago, and it's better statistics on alcohol, it's better statistics on smoking, because still alcohol and smoking are the greatest sort of disease-costing process. However, they're slow. You know, it takes you 40 years to get your lung cancer. It takes you 60 years to get your liver cancer and liver cirrhosis. This stuff is fast because it's acting as a chemical stimulant in your brain. And so it changes and alters your behaviour. And your behaviour is what kills you. You know? And they're concentrating too much on the smoking and the alcohol because it's slow. I mean, alcohol certainly, alcohol violence, alcohol and driving, yes. The smoking, they're wasting their time. You know, the reality is it takes you 40 years to have the effect, and by that time there's so much education, there's so many quit programs, there's so much stuff happening in it that you will wake up. The drugs are fast, you take it, you get a response, bang.
Yeah.
So you have no time to be educated. You've got to do the education before you take it. Or you have to have someone in the crowd that says, hold on, I want to save you. You shouldn't be doing this. I want to take you out of this and show you that you don't need to do this to have fun. And you don't need to do this to be part of my group. That's the important thing. That you really got to teach them that, you know what, having 200 friends on Facebook is not important. Having one good friend and someone that cares about you is important. You know? And that's what's happening to our children, that they want peer acceptance. And if the peer group is skewed to these people that are taking drugs, then you'll be dragged in. No matter what you know, in the situation, it goes out the window. It doesn't matter where you come from. I mean, the kid was a law student.
Yeah.
You know, you can't, I mean, this is everyone's dream, doctor or lawyer. You know? So you can't get any better than that. And here he is losing part of his arm and part of his leg in intensive care. So that doesn't work. So you need to start working on their mates to sort of lift them up out of the gutter. And as I say, we're lucky here. We are still, our odds are stacked with us, not against us.
The thing we have to do, though, is educate our kids with what you're showing us.
Of course, that's right. And that's why you're the greatest army. You see, it starts from the parents. If the parents go home and down a bottle of wine a night and smoke, and recreationally on the weekends take a line of coke, and your child knows, where's the example?
Why is he looking at you?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that reality is that's what the modern day baby boomer is doing, right? They're doing it. They're doing it, right? They're doing it. They all drink quantities, and a minority also use recreational drugs.